Howdy guys, welcome back. In this video, what we're going to do is we are going to go over the process of texturing this guy now inside of Substance Painter. Now that we've got the high-res model and the low-res model all set up and our vertex colors all ready to go. So let me walk you through the process of what I did here to build up this texture set. Okay, it's really quick, and I love using Substance Painter because of its speed and everything like that. So let's make a new project. So I'm just going to save this current one, and we're going to go and create a new project. And because I'm going to be working with Unity, I'm just going to select Unity, and I want to select the ammo crate low to start with here. Okay, and I'm going to hit OK. And what this will do is it'll set up a new project for me. It'll import that low res mesh. And at this point, what we want to do is we want to get all the texture information baked. So if we go to our texture set settings, we can hit the bake button. But first, what I want to do is rename this to ammo crate. Just give it a proper name instead of default material. Okay, so with that done, I'm going to go and hit this bake textures button here. And I'm going to go and select a high definition mesh. And that is going to be that high res model that we created inside of Houdini. And hit open. All right, so at this point, all the settings in this case worked out just fine for me. So I'm actually going to set the subsampling to 4x4 for the anti-aliasing, just to make it a little more clean and clear. Okay, so what I'm going to do is hit the bake button and let this roll through it. And then when it's done, we will come back. All right, so there we go. And we have ourselves a pretty nice bake. I even like how the rope turned out. It's got some nice depth to it. You know, you can't beat actual geometry for baking out normal maps. So, all right, so at this phase, I now have everything, right? You can see our color map, or our color information is now into a color map here. We have all of our different texture maps here that we can use. And so what I usually do to get things started is I lay down a base. So this thing is mostly comprised of wood. And so what I'm going to do here, I'm not going to get into actually the depths of creating materials and stuff like that and using Substance Designer and different types of woods. What I want to do is just utilize the stuff that I have that comes with Substance Painter so we can get an overall view of how this whole prop pipeline works, the procedural prop pipeline. All right, so what I'm going to do is search for some wood, and I really like this wood rough. I use it quite often, and it gets the job done for most purposes. So right off the bat, I now have some wood, but what we need to do is we need to mask it out. So only the areas that are wood, in fact, have this wood texture applied to it. So we can use the vertex colors that we baked out to apply a add mask with color selection. So I just right click on the layer, say add mask with color selection. And then in the properties for that particular layer there, I'm going to hit this pick color button, and everything that is red is going to get that wood. And I also want to include these guys, and I also want to get the end supports there. And I think that is everything that is actually wood in this case. So sweet. That is the first step there. So the next one is getting the metal, right? So I start with the basic materials. So let's look for a metal here. And I always like to use the steel rough, I think, or steel stained. Nope, it's, I think, steel rust surface. That'll work perfectly for this particular type of prop. All right, and again, what I want to do is create a mask with color selection and then select those guys. And I'm also going to put it on the bolts as well. So let's remove the red there. So I'm going to put it on these bolts there. There we go. Perfect. So now we have our metal all ready to go. Let's take a look at some of these parameters here for the actual metal itself. I do like all the scratches. Everything's looking pretty good. I wonder, let's take a look and see if we can utilize any sort of triplanar stuff here. So that's already on triplanar. Go to the mask editor here. And that one does not have a triplanar option. So we'll leave that. So we'll leave that for now. Let's move on and do the ropes. So for the ropes, I'm going to utilize the burlap that comes with Painter. So we'll select the fabric burlap. And it's just because it's a rough, coarse type of fabric, and it works pretty well for this rope material. So again, I'm going to drop down a mask with color selection, and then just pick the ropes. Awesome. Okay, with that, we pretty much have our base texture all ready to go. I mean, you could easily just go and export this stuff out. Let me go and check really quick with the rough wood. And I do actually want to put this on triplanar and see what it looks like. No. Unfortunately, that won't work for us because I liked the directionality that we got from the actual UV layouts. So Houdini is helping us out there by making sure everything was axis aligned on just the two axes using the UV layout. Okay. Then what I always do is I go and I do like to do this. I know it kind of breaks the rules of PBR, but I do like to go and multiply just a little bit of the ambient occlusion bake on top of the color. So I put this on multiply, and that gives me that nice bake. And then we can go and we can add some generators to it. So something like a dirt. And this will just help spread the dirt out overall. So I'm going to turn off all the other features and just keep the dirt itself. And I'm going to invert it. And that gives us a nice dirty looking ammo crate. All right. So what I want to do then is start to play around with the settings. So I'm going to turn triplanar on. Perfect. And I am going to increase the scale here for the contrast and pull the dirt level down. So now what I'm doing is I'm controlling my ambient occlusion and giving it a little bit more detail instead of the soft gradients that it usually produces. All right, I'm going to pull it back just a little bit because I want some of that dirt on top of everything here. I'll change the scale a little bit. Go a little bigger there. Grunge amount. There we go. Little edge masking. Perfect. So that is working out pretty well for us. I'm also going to pull back the overall, so I don't need a ton of that, just a little bit. All right, so that is the basics of getting our texture set up. Actually, before we leave this video, I do want to go and actually remove this particular AO multiplication over the ropes. It's a little too intense. So what I'm going to do is create a white mask here. And for that white mask, I'm going to apply some dark black here and go into this particular polygon fill mode. I'm going to go into and set the mesh fill right here and tell it to do black. That way I can just click the mesh and it'll get rid of it. There we go. So now we have a pretty good looking ammo crate. You could just go and use that straight up, but I do want to add some more details to it to make it feel more alive and like it actually exists in the real world. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to go and add some more details. Thanks so much.